Hi, I'm Sarah, this is my channel, and this video could either be titled My Book Budget for September or How Many Books Is It Possible to Buy in 1 Month with Only Spending $20? Spoiler alert, it is a lot of books. So I've done a couple of videos now about my book spending and how I spend a lot of money buying books. I want to be clear, the problem has never been that I spend $120 a month on books. The problem has been, do I need to be spending this much money on books? Because I'm going to be honest, it's not like I'm spending $120 on books and I'm reading, I'm spending that on 10 books and those are the 10 books I'm reading each month. If that was it, I would be fine. I think that's a normal amount of money to be spending on your hobby and also to actually be using what you are buying. My problem has been more that I am purchasing a bunch of books and I am reading a bunch of books, but the books I'm reading are not necessarily the books I'm purchasing. And in addition to that, I'm just bringing a lot of books into my home that I have not yet read. So in response to those videos, in response to me taking some serious looks at my money and my spending, I have decided to restrict myself to a $20 a month book budget. And I did this, I did my last video in June. July was kind of a free-for-all. I was traveling, I did some other stuff. For the month of August, I did not buy any books. I did a palette cleanser, I bought nothing. And then, starting in June, I spent only $20. Actually, I spent less. And I plan to do this for the rest of the year, possibly indefinitely. We'll see how it goes. I get $20 each month. My book of the month is a credit. That was a gift. So gifts to me do not count. So my book of the month, that credit that I'm allowed to use, that's free to me each month. However, if I do any add-ons, the $10 add-ons, that does come out of my budget. If I do not spend all of my $20, the leftover will roll over to the next month. So I can, in theory, save up if there's a month coming up where I want to buy a couple new releases or something like that. I do have means to prepare for that and to tap into funds and purchase a book. If I go over my spending, it comes out of next month's budget. But that didn't happen for September. So let's go ahead and talk about what I bought. And this might be a long video because it's a lot. It's embarrassing. It's a lot. Starting off, first thing I picked, probably even before the month of September came around, was my book of the month for September, which is Neighbor's Secret. I have not read this yet. It's a mystery thriller. I think it's kind of like a neighborhood setting. And I believe it's kind of focused around women in a book club. So a lot of things in here that I like, but I haven't read it yet, which is, this is our problem right here. But I did purchase this. However, it did not take away from my book budget. On September 4th, however, I did go to Goodwill, where I purchased 3 books for a total of $6.22. First thing I purchased was this copy of Gone by Michael Grant. I have talked about this series a couple times. I'm pretty sure in every video I have made about my monthly spending, I have somehow bought a Michael Grant book. He wrote a book series called Frontlines from the Gone series by Michael Grant. This is actually the first of the Gone series. I think the last video I did back in June, I picked up 2, 3, and 6 of this series randomly at Salvation Army. This one I've actually read. I have read number 1. I haven't read the others, but I did get it, so I have a physical copy. I also picked up this copy of The Chalk Man. This is a mystery thriller cold case, I think, and there's actually a Netflix show that I think is now out. And then I also purchased this, The Geography of Lost Things. This is kind of on a whim. I'm pretty sure it's just a YA summer travel. Yes, this is about a young woman that is going on a cross-country road trip with her ex-boyfriend. So there we go. On September 7th, I went to Salvation Army, where I purchased 3 books for a total of $1.59. At that Salvation Army, books are 2 for $1. And while I was at Salvation Army, I found what has got to be my thrifting pick of the year so far. I found a copy of While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. This literally just came out in July, so I bought it not 2 months later. I bought this on September 7th. I'm pretty sure it came out mid to late July. I believe this is a political thriller written by obviously the great Stacey Abrams. I actually bought a full price copy of this book. I have it. I haven't read it yet. Problems. But I could not leave this 50-cent copy behind. I was going to give it to my mom as part of her birthday present, but I forgot about it. So this will be passed on to one of my friends or my sister because now I have 2 copies, but I couldn't leave it behind. I also got Landlines by Rainbow Rowell. Oh, look at this. I didn't know there's this really cute postcard in this book. I didn't even notice that. I haven't read this one by her. I did just finish reading the Simon Snow trilogy and I love those. I really do. So I got this as well. And then I also got this, Astonish Me by Maggie Shipstead. partially because isn't the cover like really pretty? She just had a new release. I think it was called like The Great Circle or something that I've been seeing a lot of things about. And I haven't read that one. It wasn't really appealing to me. I just took the chance to get this because isn't it pretty? Okay, reading the back of this actually sounds kind of like something my sister would really like. So this woman's like a normal, you know, housewife, mother in California, but she used to be a young American ballerina in Paris. Like that's her backstory, where she was in a doomed, passionate romance with Soviet dancer superstar Arslan Rusakov. But then it turns out she has a son, and her son turns out to be this ballet prodigy. So she gets sucked back into the ballerina world, and her ex is in there. All right, and then 3 days later, I went back to Salvation Army. Oh, I remember this. I went with my friend Emily. She was visiting me. We went to a volleyball game. And I bought 6 books. Yeah, 6 books for $3.15. I got this cat breed book. I actually was already looking through this, and it's the craziest thing. I have a Himalayan cat, and one of the pictures in here of Himalayans looks exactly like my Himalayan. Like, apparently this bitch has a side modeling career that she just, you know, didn't tell me and her father about, because, like, look at that book. Look at that picture. That looks exactly like my cat Sugar. And this book was printed out in like 96 or something. But yeah, I have this because I have this dog breed book that I bought back when I was in vet tech school, and it's like the same size and it's dog breeds, and I just thought they'd be cool together, and it was fun to look through. So I purchased this book about the explosion of the volcano Krakatoa. It's nonfiction. I kind of think this is going to be my shit. I got another nonfiction called The Girls of Atomic City. I don't exactly know what Atomic City is or what these women were doing, but it's something about these women that were on some kind of like, they were doing some type of work in World War II that I guess was very important, but is never talked about. I guess as evidenced by the fact that I don't really know what this is referring to, like reading the back. Some kind of factories or something. We'll get back to this. I got this mystery thriller called The Other Woman. It was a, you know, Reese Witherspoon book club. I just read her newest book. I think it was called The Guilt Trip. But I liked it enough that when I saw this one, I was like, oh yeah, I think that's by that author. I'll give that a try. And then I got these two, like YA. I think they're both like YA traveling Europe type things. Yes, this one, she's in Tuscany. And this one, Senior Citizens Bus Tour Through Europe. But it's like, they're both YA summer travel in Europe books. Then I went to the library bookshop at some point. I didn't write down a date, where I purchased Long Winter for $1. This is one of my favorite, the Laura Ingalls Wilder. And it's just this really pretty hardcover edition. I actually started kind of reading it, but there's actually an inscription from June 96 written to Sarah with an H. A great book to read on a hot summer day. Graham and Gramps. It's so cute, but I really like this edition. And then I also purchased this series I've never heard of. They were 50 cents each. It's some kind of YA dystopian, clearly from the post-Hunger Games time when everyone was trying to write the next Hunger Games and like no one did. Quite confident these are a product of those times. I have no idea what it's about, but they had both of them and they were 50 cents each, and the covers are kind of cool. So I thought, you know, why not? I have video footage from this. I went to a library book sale. I didn't get to really experience it fully, as you'll see in the video clips I have. It was fill a bag of books for $4 a day. So I'll let past me tell you about that. Hello, I am currently in my car outside the library getting ready to go into the library book sale. Now, unfortunately, this is the last day, which means everything's probably pretty picked over. The good news with that is they do like tend to discount things when it comes to the last day. Any hidden gems that maybe I was looking for but nobody else was, I'll get for cheaper. But it has been a few days, so I'm not really expecting to find any like hot ticket items. I'm sure those are long gone. My plan was to be here Friday morning, day one, opening time, ready to go, but I had COVID symptoms and was still waiting for my test to come back. Fortunately, no COVID, so that's good. But I did miss the first day of the book sale, and then yesterday, which was the second day, I was working all day. So here I am Sunday. I'm glad I do get a day to go look and see how everything's going. I did the math. According to my book budget, I have $7.04 left to spend for the month of September. So if I do find anything, I should be good to go. I think they actually do like a fill a bag for $4. I don't know if that's all you can do or if like you just find one book, you can get it. I'm hoping to get some video footage without looking too weird. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, other than that, it's a beautiful day and I'm happy I get to go into the book sale. Happy I don't have COVID. I'm also returning a book. I'm returning this which I finished. It was kind of meh. It didn't do it for me. I gave it 2 stars, so. I think I'd have that perfected by now, but I want to say I'm not proud of this, but I did indeed fill a bag for $4. The selection was significantly better than I had been expecting for this being day 3 of the sale, just the fill a bag day, which makes me even more disappointed that I did not get in at 9 o'clock opening day like I had intended. But I did still get some pretty impressive and unexpected things. I'll have to do a full haul later. I wanted to get more footage while I was in there, but like people were not messing around. Like I was having to elbow around grandmas and stuff. I got a lot of stuff. I'll have to go through it later. It's so heavy. One of my handles ripped off when I was in the book sale. It's embarrassing. The problem with these bag book sales, I will say, is once you've committed to getting a few books, it ends up being oh, you might as well grab anything you see that you're remotely interested in because you're going to be paying $4 anyway. So if you still have room in your bag, you might as well just go for it. I didn't even count these. Starting off, I did find 2 Animorphs books. This one is for my own personal collection. Number 46 is one of the later ones. I did not have this one. I was very happy to find it because the later ones are hard to find. And then number 3 is one of the early ones. This is actually for my friend Emily's stepson because he is reading Animorphs. And, it's not the way I would have wanted him to read it because he's just been like Emily and I have both been collecting these for him from thrift stores and stuff. And so he hasn't been reading them in order. And I know he's missing a lot of the earlier ones. So I got number 3. 10 years ago or so, you could find Animorphs every time you went to the thrift store. 10 plus years ago is when everyone my age, I guess, was kind of clearing out their old book collections. And anytime you went to Salvation Army, you could find a ton of these. Those days are kind of gone and it's harder and harder to find them. So I was really happy to get this one because the later ones especially are hard to find. Other books I've read, don't come at me about the Selection series. I know the Selection is not a good book series. I will never argue oh, but it's good. The 2 later books, this one and The Crown, are even worse than the original trilogy. There is something very readable about them, and if you are okay with the fact that it's trash, but you can enjoy it, then that's fine. And I enjoyed it enough that not only did I read it, but I was I could see myself doing a trash reread of these. I really could. So picked this up because I did not have a physical copy. I think I've got the first 3. I'm just missing The Crown. I do remember when reading this, one of the dumbest things about it is she keeps talking about how old her parents are and how she needs to get herself ready because they're going to need to retire any day now. And her mom has a literal heart attack and her parents are 40. Ouch. And then I also got the 3rd book in the Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children, I think it's called. I read the original one years ago. I think I was out in Arizona at the time, so it must have been 10 years ago. And I bought the second one, just never got to it. Even though I've always it's still on my shelf. It's in my, you will read this eventually, but it's been so long I have to reread the first one. But either way, I now also own the 3rd one. So I've got the set. I remember when the first one came out, it was pretty big and people really appreciated it. And I never really heard much about the sequel. So that's probably why I never made it a priority to get around to. But I have always been curious how it all ended. All right, what have I got? Patient HM. This is some kind of nonfiction medical story. So I guess this is about surgeons that were trying to perfect lobotomies. In the 1930s, there was a 27-year-old factory worker named Henry, and he had epilepsy, and he had a lobotomy to try and cure his epilepsy. So his lobotomy did not cure his epilepsy, but it left him with the inability to create new long-term memories. Well, that's horrifying. That's absolutely horrifying. So this is a lot about Batman's story and then what that taught us about the brain in general. So just very interesting medical fiction, or nonfiction, medical nonfiction. I also got a Karen Slaughter. I have never read Karen Slaughter. I know she's mystery thriller. I know she tends very dark, and I've kind of avoided her because of that. But to be honest, I don't know what someone else means when they say very dark, because I definitely read some dark stuff. And like, I don't know where my line is, but I have heard hers described as very dark. So I was kind of like, meh. But like when I look at the back of the book, they're talking about like the top quotes from Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl. And like Gone Girl and those other books, those are dark, but like I liked those. So we've got this. This is another nonfiction. Library book sales are good for nonfiction. That tends to be what's getting discarded or what other people aren't snapping up as quickly. So this is like nonfiction, but like speculative nonfiction about, I think, like travel to other planets in the future. And it's fairly recent. I looked because I was like, I don't want to read this. It was from like 95 because it'll be completely out of date. But this is actually from 2016. So it's still kind of current. Okay, this one. This is just kind of a collector's item for me. Did I need this? No. I can't imagine I would have bought this if it wasn't a book sale. But like look. I love this type of stuff. I really do. It's got the whales and the dolphins. And, okay, dolphins are whales, but still. I just love this type of thing. This one's particularly cool. It's a little rough. It's in some rough shape. I think it's been in the library for a while. What year is this from? 2002. It's not like ancient or anything, but oh, it's got polar bears. I got this new and improved copy of World War Z. I already have a physical copy of World War Z, but it's like a little more warped, and this one was in nicer shape, so I got this one. I'm probably gonna stick the other one in like a little free library. Oh, I read this years ago. I don't know what happened to my copy. I don't think I still have it. This is a book that I actually think about a lot. And if nothing else, this is going to be something I'm going to make my sister read. It's about a woman whose sister has gone missing. So it's kind of a mystery thriller, but like her writing is just very unique. Like I haven't read much else like her before. And I did prefer this to the other one I read. So I guess this is my favorite, even the one I read too. It's hard to describe, but like just trust me, this is an interesting one. Oh, it's possible I already have a copy of this. It really is. I don't think I do. Ever since I love the Book of Longing so much, whenever I see like a Sue Kid, if it's in good shape, I buy it. Okay. This is one of those like childhood books of mine. And I know I've seen these before and I've been like, no, I don't need to buy those. But now I'm like, maybe I do. Maybe I do need to like recreate myself a set of these Daughters of the Moon books. Like I'm kind of committed to it now that I've bought one. This is where we are. Elin Hilderbrand, I've read several of hers, some more memorable than others, but they are very readable. They're just kind of like fun, beachy women's reads. Never had any complaints with any of hers. I just read a book by her that was like trying to be a mystery thriller, and I think it shouldn't have. And I'm pretty sure this is not a mystery thriller. I'm hoping that this woman just wasn't meant to write mystery thrillers because I liked her writing. I just didn't like her like mystery twist that she did. So, and then my very last trip to Salvation Army was on a student discount day. My total was $1.96 and I got 5 books. This one actually looked really good. I'm pretty sure this is horror. Something about contacting the dead. Okay, so she's pretending that she's holding seances and she lives in New York, and every year on like 9/11 she'll like look up the memorials in New York Times and like call the families and tell them that she's communicating with their dead loved ones or something, which is weird. But this is actually an advanced reader's copy. This just came out September 7th, and someone locally had the ARC and donated it, and I got my little paws on it. Generic mystery thriller. Read the inside cover. I do not know what this is about. This is weird. I don't know what made me pick this up. Apparently it's a reimagining of the Scarlet Letter. The America of the not too distant future, where the line between church and state has been eradicated and convicted felons are no longer imprisoned and rehabilitated, but chromed and released back into the population to survive as best as they can. So I guess she's convicted of murder, the murder of her unborn child. I don't know if she had a miscarriage or an abortion, but she's convicted of murder. Okay, so it says I am a red, so that must be like the Scarlet Letter, like they're marked. Weird. When Life Gives You Lululemons. This is one of the sequels to The Devil Wears Prada. This book shouldn't be a sequel to The Devil Wears Prada. The main character is Emily, who was played by Emily Blunt in the movie. None of the events in this book have really anything to do with The Devil Wears Prada or the other Devil Wears Prada sequel. In that book, Andy and Emily are friends, and at the end of it, they have a pretty disastrous friendship breakup. And in this book, Emily calls up Andy one day and is talking to her, and then Andy's like, oh, I'll call you back, and then doesn't, and that's like the only mention of her. I didn't mind it. I liked it better than the Revenge Wears Prada book, so it's got that going for it. But I do tend to like Lauren Weisberger's, and I didn't have a physical copy, so I just grabbed it. And then I did get another nonfiction, The Astronauts' Wives Club. I just like astronauts. I feel like I would enjoy this. All right, that is it. I guess it's time to count.
15 minutes later.
It's 35 books, and I believe I spent $19. So I guess we could call this a success in that I did definitively spend less money by like $100. With that being said, I believe I may have also managed to purchase more books. And I do not think I have read a single one of the books. Granted, it's, you know, it hasn't even been a full month, but we both are and are not off to a good start, I guess. I will say it has kept me from buying books in that, like, I definitely think about it. Like, I didn't go to Goodwill much because those books run more expensive. They run $1.29 for paperbacks, $2.29 for hardcovers. I really stayed off Amazon. I wasn't even looking at any like new books, but I did tend to go a little more wild when I did go to Salvation Army or something else because I just wanted to spend money. I just wanted to buy stuff. But yeah, let's see if next month maybe we can slim some things down a little bit more and maybe actually read some of these. I'll see you next time.